Junior. Next up, the boss, the one that keeps them in order, the director, Mr. Guy Ritchie. Next to Guy, it's the evil Lord Blackwood, played by Mark Strong.
An audience that we hope will rediscover or discover Sherlock Holmes for the first time.
I love the 7% solution. It was never a high enough percentage for me. Kind of a weak, tepid solution, if you ask me. But well, this is a PG-13 movie, and even if it wasn't, the idea is, if you go back to the source material, he's never described as being some, strung-out weirdo. And also, back in Victorian times, it was absolutely legal, acceptable. You could go down to your corner pharmacist and grab all that stuff. So we thought it would be irresponsible to not make reference to it. And so, again, I think a lot of the flaming hoops we had to jump through doing Sherlock were, how do you take what comes from the source material, how do you amend it so that it's accessible, and how do you not whitewash it, but how do you still be respectful to that? And I mean, as far as if there's anything that we've added this time around, is that it's essentially, as much as it's about this very far-reaching case, and Holmes and Watson save life on Earth as we know it, it's also basically a fight over, well, isn't it, Kelly? It's a fight over Mary Morstan.
As there should be a fight over. The guy over there has put his hand up.
What requires for the acting for the slow motion thing? Because there's a lot of sequences in slow motion. So I was wondering if that...
Is there any techniques involved?
Any
what sort of
techniques
technique?
involved?
For the actors. Robert, when you're doing the super slow-mo, how do you do that?
Am I expected to qualify this with an answer? It's a 7-second take, and so if you notice, everything that happens that you never see in 7 seconds, you see in playback. So I think it's just about trying to do less.
There is a sense, though, would you say that because it is super slow-mo, there's no hiding, you can't sort of bring a body double in, you can't get a stunt double?
Yeah, often it's not, but Guy used to tell me, try one like you've just that tastes like peanut butter, and I thought that is the strangest direction I've ever got, and it actually kind of worked.
Down the front in the white top.
I'm Pierpaolo from Italy. A question to Robert Downey Jr. Holmes has been an inspiration for many TV series like House and D. In that case, Hugh Laurie plays an American and he's British, and you're the opposite here. First of all, are you a fan of that series and his work? And in Italy, we know Robert Downey Jr. can do everything. And were you scared about approaching this role? Thank you.
Scared. I don't get scared anymore. I just get busy. I already knew by the time Guy was directing this that it was a fresh interpretation. And then, I worked with Joel Silver a bunch. I've lived with Susan Downey a bunch, and Lionel Wigram basically is the person who figured out how to reprise this as a film. So I knew I was in good hands, and then just a matter of just getting down to business, Fortunately, I'd spent some time here in the late 80s playing Chaplin, and I had a great tutelage in all things British from Lord Attenborough, so I felt like I kind of, passed go, and but definitely felt the onus of it's not the fear of the judgment of others. It's just at a certain point, it just comes down to will you meet the standards that people are expecting of you and you expect of them. What about the role?
Hugh Laurie.
Oh, Hugh Laurie?
Yeah.
Hugh Laurie. It's nice. What did he say about Israel? No, that's actually an interesting point. I like that guy.
You mentioned Lionel.
That chemistry between yourself, I think on the production note you said we are very much on the same page, which is a very eccentric page. But how did you collaborate together? And there's another question to all of you. When was your first introduction to Sherlock Holmes as a story or whether it's a movie?
My first job, my second job on TV was in the Sherlock Holmes TV series. I played a stable boy. Jeremy Brett. We started work the minute we met, didn't we?
Yeah, we didn't. Well, we were trying to get him to do the movie, and you're a pretty savvy guy, so it's not like, you know, it's all just talk. It's, are you interested in making the best version of this? And the great feedback we've been getting today is that they say the movie is about the two of you, and the third thing that creates. Well, it's one thing to promise you can get there, and it's another thing to just roll up your sleeves and get into it. And Guy created such a sublime atmosphere on set, and really there was no we weren't sure that it was going to turn out as well as it did, but we really efforted, and I think, you know, it's this whole thing of like, well, why is it that it's so funny to me, because usually I'm used to saying, well, you and so it's always female, had this great chemistry, and they're talking about Jude and I like we should be doing romantic comedies together or something. But this film is not a comedy, and it's a love affair of sorts, but it's about what it's about. But I think that, you know, Holmes and Watson are aspects of all of us, and I think that we knew when to yin and yang back and forth, and we were just a good team, you know.
The third person in the relationship between these two is Mary.